Hey everyone, it's Pat from Pat 7 Music, and today we're looking at why it's so important to make goals, whether it's daily goals, weekly goals, monthly, yearly, lifetime. It's so important because without goals, this is gonna happen. Has this happened to you? It's been months, it's been years, and you think, oh yeah, maybe you've had some good practice time, but then you've gone back to your same old routine, and over years, decades, you've sort of got a little bit better, but nowhere good as you'd want to get. You've been stagnant, you've been stuck in the mud, you've been stuck in a situation that you want to get out of. This is what this video is all about. It is so important to have goals. So by the end of the video, you'll know why it's important to have goals, how you can set your own goals, and better yet, one sort of thing that I don't think anyone is doing at the moment, and it really, really helps. So let's dive straight into it. So firstly, we're going to look at two different things, but you can apply it to anything. Learning chords and learning melodies. But you can turn chords into, learning entire songs. You can turn melodies into writing your own songs, learning other people's solos. Very, very interchangeable, but the main ideas will come across throughout the video. So let's choose chords. So let's say you're just starting out, but remember, even if you're an advanced player or you're an intermediate player, or you already know all these chords, you can take these different things and apply it. So let's say you're just starting out and you're learning your first few chords, or maybe you're learning some different extensions or some 9th, 11th chords, some tricky jazz voicings can be applied to all of them. So let's say that you're just starting out. It's so important that you have a goal for your daily practice sessions, for your weekly, your monthly, your yearly, and even your lifetime. So what we're going to be looking at is we're going to start down and get bigger and bigger and bigger as we go on. So daily, what you should be doing is you should have the chord chart in front of you, the YouTube video that you're watching, the tab or the music that you've written out. However you're learning that chord, it should be in front of you. And each time you go to play that chord and you go to work out what the fingerings are, where to put your fingers and all that stuff, should have that right in front of you. So there's no denying exactly what you play. So when you do get those fingers down, it might not sound super clean like that to begin with, but at least you know that your fingers are going to be on the right frets and it's going to look like what you're looking at. Super important. So every time you practice in that first day, make sure that you look at what you're doing, back to your fingers, look at what you're doing, take your fingers off, have a play. Maybe you'll get just a couple strings. Maybe you'll get a lot of buzziness. That's the next thing to look at. So once you know that your fingers are on the right frets, it's talking about making sure things are clean. So in day one, what you would want to practice is you've got your fingers in the right place, you know that they're on the right frets in the right area of the guitar, and now what you want to do is try and focus on just one string. That's it. So one day you focus on one string. So we're playing a D chord. So you just focus on that second finger being on the second fret. So you can hear that, right? Now, if you add another finger in, what happens then? Oh, we can't hear either of them. Okay, so we've got to work out how we're going to stand our fingers nice and tall to make sure that even if we put down another finger, we can still hear it. It doesn't matter if you can't hear the second finger, as long as you can hear that first note. So even if it's not ringing out true, make sure you can hear that finger, that first finger that you're targeting on. Specifically today, we're targeting out second finger, but just so you know. So day one, focus on getting one finger, okay? Day two, do the same thing again, looking at, your music, making sure you're playing the right chord, but change your focus to a different finger. So this time, forget what we tried with the second finger. You want to get that third finger. You really want that to sound. If the second finger that we were focusing on the day before, if that doesn't sound, that's okay. So we want to focus on that third fret of the second string. The next day, again, change your focus to change onto just the next string, then the next string. So after a week is gone, and just repeat, if you are able to practice every day, great stuff, then just repeat that process. And you'll find, but just by taking it a little bit slowly and just by focusing on each different finger, after just 1 week, you'll have a chord that you don't just instantly remember where it is, but it sounds a lot nicer. And your fingers are a lot stronger because you're focused. You've spent so much time focusing on each string. And because you change your focus each day, you never get bored with just targeting just that one particular finger over and over and over again. Now, once a week has gone by and you've really, really targeted that first chord, if you're excelling, start another chord. And again, do the same thing. So maybe this time you're looking at, maybe a C chord. So again, this time do the same thing. Just every time you're playing, make sure that you're looking at the music. You make sure your fingers are in the exact frets that they need to be. You're not learning different things. Your guitar's in tune, and focus on one string at a time. And also another thing to think about is each day, try and look at the music a little bit less. So after your first day, super important, you're looking the entire time. The second day, maybe after you take your fingers off, you look at it every second time. So you look at it first, make sure your fingers are correct, then take your fingers off, don't look at it, try and remember the whole chord. And then the third time, double check to see if you were right. The next day, look at it even less, the next day, look at it even less. So by the end of that week, you've got a chord that's sounding a little bit better as the days progressed, and you've got a chord that you're starting to remember. Is this starting to make sense? So after each of those weeks, focus on building more chords, and then by the end of the month, try and have minimum one chord that you don't need to look at a book for or a video for. You just, straight off the bat, even if it takes you a little while to put your fingers down, which is absolutely fine, at least you're starting to remember the different frets, and it's starting to get stored up here, and you're starting to focus on each different string so it sounds a little bit better. That's what I would do for chords. Moving on to melodies, let's say you were learning a melody like this. Something like that, okay? So lots of different rhythms, lots of different notes, tempo can be a little bit tricky, that sort of thing. So I would break it down. So first thing is exactly like what you were doing with the chords, is you would look at the music, or you would listen to the music, you would watch the YouTube, doesn't matter, but you would focus on just making sure that you're playing the right notes. Don't stress about the timing, don't stress about the rhythm just yet. Just make sure that you're getting every note correct. It's sounding nice and clear. It's in the right order, etc., etc. Just so important just to make sure that you're starting to remember the whole melody. So just watch it the entire time. Okay, day 2, you're starting the same melody, even if it's a few days later. Treat it like day 2. Again, still looking at the music, but try looking at it once. And then the second time, try and see how much you can remember. Look at it a little bit less. That's what the goal is. By the third day, start thinking about a bit of the rhythm. You'll naturally start this anyway, but start thinking about more of the rhythm. Is it fast? Is it slow? Start to bring in more of those rhythmic elements. And by the 4th day, start slowly, very slowly, just pick a small section of the song and start working on focusing that speed and building that speed. And we will look at how you would do that with a metronome and everything like that very, very soon. But start sort of edging. And so by the first week, you've got a little chunk of that song. You know the notes. You don't have to look at as much of the sheet music all the time. Maybe you have a look every 3rd time, every 4th time you play it, and you're starting to get the rhythm and the timing elements. Once that first week is over and you get into your 2nd week, again, try and look at the music less, try and remember more, build the tempo a little bit, try and remember more of the rhythmic elements, that sort of thing. And by the 1st month, as long as it's not this ridiculous solo like Hotel California or something like that, try and remember more of the piece without, looking at the music. But if you're playing mistakes all the time, go back to day 1, go back to week 1. But try and look at the music a lot less. Keep it up here. Think about what notes are under your fingertips, what strings you're playing, how it's reacting to the chords. Think about all of that. Don't just do a mindless exercise of remembering 1, 2, 4, 6, 4, 5. Try and think about what strings you're crossing against, the overall sort of feel and sound of the song, and that will help sort of ingrain it in your memory. And then again, try adding the tempo and try adding the rhythm. So having little goals like that every day will definitely help you progress, and you'll actually see progress. It won't just be like, okay, today I'm gonna learn this chord. Okay, great. Okay, I've learned it now, so I never have to play it again. And then you come back to it and you're like, what was it again? Always try and build up. It's so important in the first few months and even the first year. Even if you've learned that C chord or you learned the D chord, and for whatever reason, a lot of the songs that you want to play, they don't use D chords. Maybe you jump onto just power chords or something like that. Keep going back, playing that D chord. Make sure you can hear. all of the strings ringing out. Don't just sort of put it down aside, go back and play it a little bit. So it's so important to have those goals, because then you'll actually be able to see progress. Hey, now I can play this one chord this month. The second month, now I can play these 2 chords. Now I can play the whole melody without having to stop and look at it and remember it, you know. You've got it all worked out. It's so important. Now, this is the biggest thing of this video. Find a partner. Now, it doesn't matter. Does this person play an instrument? Awesome if they do. But if they don't, even a friend, a family member, a partner, like girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever, but just try and tell them your progress. Try and say, by the end of the month, can I show you this chord? Try and put it out there to the universe, even just saying it out loud. I want to play this Satriani song by the end of the year. I want to be able to play these Beatles songs by the end of the year. Just putting it out there and telling someone else, sometimes it starts opening the doors mentally, and it starts sort of, you know, willing you to, all right, well, I'm going to have to practice because I've told them now. They're going to be expecting at the end of the month. They've written down it in the calendar. Pat's going to show me this chord. Or if you don't have anyone, you know, near or around you, join a forum, and we will be talking about that. There's heaps of awesome guitar forums for anyone starting out, intermediate, and advanced, and you can help each other progress. That's a super important thing too. Create a thread. If there's no, you know, different sub-thread in your forum, create a beginner's forum and say, hey, I'm just starting out, and by the end of the month, I'm going to be able to do this and this, and I'm going to come back and I'm going to make a recording. Or if you're too shy to make a recording, which is fine, just so how, you know, come back and say how you went. I learned that chord. I'm still having a little trouble. I'm going to spend some more weeks. But just actually putting it out there, telling someone or writing to someone, or even just saying it out loud, really does help. And it starts sort of think, all right, I've said that I'm going to do it, and I'm going to do it. So that's it, guys. How do you feel about this whole goal thing? Do you set monthly goals? Do you set yearly goals? So for me, I set daily, weekly, monthly, and yearly. So by the end of the year, I want to have all of these songs learned. I want to be able to play at this speed. I want to have these scales mastered, blah, 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 blah. So it just all starts by daily, weekly, monthly, and sometimes it's actually better to go from the end. So let's say at the end of the year, 12 months time, I want to be able to play 12 chords. Great, okay, we better get into gear because each month you're gonna have to learn a chord. Does that sort of make sense? Definitely leave a comment below and tell me what you think of this video. Check out this other video series if you want to learn more theory and you want to learn how to read and write sheet music and do some ear training as well. And otherwise, check out this video for another sort of guitar lesson. But thanks so much for watching. And if you do want more help, you want advice, you want me to help you, definitely follow that Facebook link that's in the description below, because I do answer these emails daily and I want to help all of you succeed. But I've been Pat from Pat's Ever Music. See you all again. Bye.